We're going to go through learning about abnormal heart rhythms. With our talk today, I'd like to help you all understand different heart conditions, but really focus on abnormal heart rhythms or arrhythmia. We're going to talk a little bit about who's at risk for abnormal heart rhythms, why abnormal heart rhythms matter, some of the tests we can do to diagnose heart rhythms at Renown Institute for Heart and Vascular Health, some of the programs we have for treatment, and then we're going to go over some heart health tips. In addition to the tips, there are many booths out in the atrium, so you'll be able to get more advice on some of those. I'm really looking forward to question and answer period at the end, so let's get started. First thing about understanding the heart is that it's a large, complex structure. There is a muscle that is the pumping function of the heart. There are the large blood vessels that lead away from the heart, the coronaries that supply the blood to the heart. And then over on the right, you'll see there is a picture of the heart with valves and a conduction system. That yellow pattern there sort of describes the way electricity normally moves through the heart. Electricity normally starts at the area labeled the sinus node and then moves through the atria, or the top chambers, gathers together at the AV node, and then quickly conducts to the bottom part of the heart via the bundle branches. At Renown, we do have programs that focus on each area of the heart. We have the Healthy Heart program that focuses on prevention and cardiac rehabilitation. The chest pain centers, which our hospitals are accredited, and these are where we focus on treatment for the coronary arteries of the heart. There's a heart failure program led by Dr. Kelly, Dr. Toe, that looks at the heart pumping function. Heart failure is one of those terms that I think always scares people when they get that as a diagnosis, because so many organs, when we talk about failure of them, people think that it's a terminal end-stage failure. So heart failure's got a scary name, but it's actually a more common condition that just means it's not pumping out enough. There's a valvular heart disease program led by Dr. Chino, and finally there's the heart rhythm disorders program, where we, the electricians who specialize in clinical cardiac electrophysiology, do our practice. I just want to mention that our hospital at Renown Regional Medical Center just got accreditation for our EP lab. The Intersocietal Accreditation Commission for Cardiac Electrophysiology Accreditation just started accrediting labs, and we are the 5th EP lab in the country to get accredited. So it's quite an honor. There'll be many more popping up across the country soon, but it was an initiative to become accredited as soon as that accreditation was available. So into arrhythmia. Arrhythmia is essentially an abnormal heartbeat. Abnormal heartbeats are just beats that are going apart from what we would normally expect. So this would include any slower rhythm than usual, any irregular rhythm, or any fast rhythm. Slow heart rhythms are called bradycardia often. We define this if we have to pick a number by heart rates under 60 beats per minute. But really, what defines being too slow for a heartbeat is a heartbeat that causes symptoms. And those symptoms include palpitations, dizziness, lightheadedness, falls, or syncope, which is a fancy way of saying passing out. Some patients with slow heart rates can have weakness or fatigue or shortness of breath either at rest or when they try to engage in any physical activity. Finally, some patients have very subtle symptoms of slow heart rate, such as confusion or memory problems. There are a couple ways that the heart can end up being slow. We talked about the conduction system of the heart a bit earlier, and Heartbeats generate from the top portion of the heart. And one way that you can get a slow heart rate is with what we call sick sinus syndrome. The sinus node in the picture was where the heartbeat normally originates. And sometimes that can slow down. When that origination spot slows down too slow and causes symptoms, we often will recommend a pacemaker. Some people will come in to the office with a heart rate of 50 and no symptoms. If it's sinus rhythm, it's slow, it's something we'll follow, but it's not something that will necessarily need treatment. If you don't have symptoms, we usually don't start treating things until we get to 5 seconds without heartbeat, which is a really long time. And I think we picked that because if you're not having symptoms by the time you lose a heartbeat for 5 seconds, there's a good chance you'll start having symptoms shortly thereafter. Additionally, there's heart block. The AV node that I pointed out in that figure earlier is the connection between the top and the bottom part of the heart. When the impulses don't get from the top to the bottom, they can get blocked. In the figures there, I've got 3 on top of each other. Sometimes you can have a heart block where just a random beat will get dropped. Sometimes it can drop more commonly, and then sometimes it can drop every other beat, or nothing can get through. Anyone with heart block, even if there aren't symptoms, will often be offered a pacemaker because heart block comes with an increased risk of sudden cardiac death. Again, if you have a slow heart rhythm, it's important to be evaluated because we need to separate out the sinus node dysfunction, which we're only treating symptoms, against the heart block, where we actually are treating to prevent the risk of sudden death and the heart stopping beating at all. Irregular rhythms, another form of arrhythmia. Irregular rhythms cause palpitations or the sensation of your heart beating or racing. They can cause chest pain. They can cause shortness of breath. There are a number of causes of irregular rhythms. First, you can have early beats coming in that will give you an irregular rhythm. These skip beats can come from the top part of the heart or the atria. We call those atrial premature contractions or atrial premature beats. And if they come from the bottom part of the heart, we call those ventricular premature contractions or ventricular premature beats. Often, the underlying rhythm is the normal rhythm, but these beats come in early. So if you listen, you'll hear it go a little off rhythm, or if you feel the pulse, it'll end up feeling like a skipped beat when you're feeling the pulse. Blocked beats from the heart block that I was referring to earlier. When they don't conduct, they cause a shift in the normal rhythm as well. So you can get off beat there. That truly is a skipped beat, and that will cause irregular rhythm. And finally, atrial fibrillation is one of the most common and worrisome irregular rhythms. When your doctor sends you for a referral for an irregular heart rhythm, one of the things that they're most looking for is atrial fibrillation. Because atrial fibrillation is a very common arrhythmia, and it's something that we need to treat because it increases the risk of stroke. We'll talk in much more detail about atrial fibrillation in a short bit. Finally, last type of abnormal rhythm, fast rhythms. Tachycardia, again, we make the cutoff at 100 beats per minute. Those cutoffs are such that about 3% of the general population may have a heart rate that at rest is a little over 100, but in general, over 100 we consider fast. Symptoms of fast heart rates are much like skipping. You can get palpitations, the awareness of your heartbeat, a racing sensation in your chest, anxiety sometimes people feel when their heart races, and they don't even realize they're going fast. They just feel nervous because they get the same sensation that folks get when they are nervous. Dizziness, lightheadedness, syncope, the same thing. Action pictures with the heart moving, and the color you see represents blood flow. So in this particular image, that red and orange streak there shows a leak of blood across the heart valve. So echocardiography is very, very helpful in assessing risk for heart disease, as well as looking at the size and shape of the heart. Transesophageal echo can give us more close-up pictures. This is actually a 4D image. I'm sorry, these aren't playing for us, but you can see that the valves move in real time. In arrhythmia, we will often recommend this test to place the ultrasound probe immediately behind the heart from the esophagus, because we're able to look and see if there are any blood clots in the heart to make sure that the risk of stroke isn't increased if we're going to do something to change your heart rate. Nuclear imaging. There are PET scans and different stress tests that basically we get images of how the blood flows to different regions of your heart to give us an idea of if you've had a previous heart attack or if there are areas that have reduced blood flow ability, putting you at risk for a heart attack. CT angiography is a type of CT scan that takes CT images of the heart, and then we can reconstruct the images and actually look at the blood vessels. Here you see prominently in the middle of the picture the aorta and the coronary arteries coming off of that. These are some non-invasive ways to approach the coronaries. In addition, you can do a coronary angiogram with a catheter up in the heart to see the coronaries. Finally, cardiac magnetic resonance imaging, or an MRI. These can provide very, very detailed pictures of the heart. You can give a contrast called gadolinium to see where there's scar. And again, you can see blood flow using this imaging modality as well. Other tests. I mentioned that the electrocardiogram doesn't catch absolutely everything because you've only got it on for about 10 seconds. But there are ways to get more heartbeats captured. Holter monitors are a monitor that's placed with a number of leads that will continually monitor your heart for 24 to 48 hours. These are very, very good for patients who know they have their symptoms every single day, because there's a very good chance that we'll catch their abnormal rhythm. There are loop recorders that are named because the device has a memory that stores a loop of information. And whenever you trigger the loop recorder, it'll save what was happening in a loop of time before for about 30 seconds. So we can have patients wear those for a longer period of time. The traditional loop recorders, you would trigger the event, and then at the end it would save all of the events that you triggered, and you could get a report from that. But more modernly, there is trans-telephonic monitoring. So some patients who have these recorders actually have a cell signal on them, and there's a third-party vendor who are watching every single heartbeat to warn us in real time when something is abnormal, and we can get daily updates. I want to talk a little bit about the Zio patch, because it has all of the advantages of the Holter in that it records every single beat, but it's incredibly convenient. Has anyone out here ever worn a Holter monitor with all the wires on them? So quite a few people. The Zio patch has the same technology, except instead of wires, it's got little wings apart from the device looking at one lead. And then it's a sticker that just sticks on the monitoring system, the recording apparatus, and it'll record every single beat for 2 weeks at a time. These are very, very helpful to us because we get a report. Here you can see from the tracing that I put up on the sample report, a slow heartbeat, we actually see in detail. There's one heartbeat there and then nothing afterwards. We can see the fast rhythms, we can see the irregular rhythms. It tells us every single beat that happens in a 2-week period of time, apart from the stuff that's maybe artifact from movement. Additionally, the loop recorders that used to have the wires, there are implantable loop recorders. These started out as something the size of a AA battery, and were implanted under the skin, but now they're nearly injectable. They're like a loop recorder in that it'll record things automatically if it's fast or slow. You get a button that can record things, but rather than the loop recorder that has all the wires on it, this is implanted under the skin, and the battery can last for about 3 years. Very, very helpful for getting a diagnosis. You can see from the diagram here that it's just implanted over the breast tissue, under the skin. It literally takes about 2 minutes to put in the modern versions of these that we have. We numb up the skin, makes a slight nick, and this device is just pushed under the skin there. And the battery will then last for 3 years. The inset that I put down there is somebody holding one of these monitors. It gives you an idea of how tiny this thing is. I can tell you they're much more convenient than the things with the wires. They last for years. I've learned after a while of doing this, though, the biggest complaint patients have about these is carrying firewood, because it presses that little thing up against their chest. Other than that, people don't even notice they're there. And again, we get similar diagnostics. It tells us exactly how the heartbeat was over time. We can pull up samples of the heart beating from different events that were triggered. Gives us an idea of how the heart rate varies, how much activity the patients have over the day. So it's very, very helpful. An additional thing that I recommend to patients, unfortunately most insurances don't cover it, but it's a very, very useful adjunct. It's something called a live cord. The image there shows somebody holding 2 fingers on this little pad on each side of the pad. Holding your fingers on this pad generates an electrocardiogram, and it actually gives high fidelity monitoring. The company that runs these, I'm just giving a quick plug for them because I've got a lot of patients who have things once every couple of years, don't end up getting a diagnosis and really don't want something implanted in them, and these work really nicely. For Heart Month in February, the company is actually selling them for $79. So it's a good way to catch arrhythmia if you've had all the monitors and they fail and you don't want something like that. Finally, more invasively, one of the things that we do most commonly is called an EP study. It's a minimally invasive test, meaning we don't make any incisions, but it's definitely invasive. We get access to the arteries and veins, and we slide catheters with electrodes on them up to the heart to look how conduction happens in various places of the heart. There are some fancy mapping systems that we have in the room that can show exactly where the catheters are within the heart. There's an electromagnetic GPS type of system with some magnetic patches on the front and the back and underneath the patient, so we can look exactly where the catheters are in 3-dimensional space on the table. And the nice thing about this is we can actually treat arrhythmias while we're there. Ablation is where we destroy a little piece of heart tissue trying to make the heart rhythm go back to normal. Here's a picture of me from actually yesterday, showing you sort of what's involved in the room that we have. This was taken with permission, obviously, and you can see it's actually quite a complex setup in the room. I don't know if there's a laser, but across from me, there are a bunch of mapping systems. Starting to the left side of the screen, directly behind my shoulder, there is an intracardiac echocardiography machine. So there's an ultrasound from a catheter that goes inside the heart. The next thing to the right is our 3-dimensional mapping system. There you can see little gray structures that aren't pointed out that well, but that's where I have made a 3-dimensional shell of the shape of the heart to be able to figure out where beats are coming from and where we're going to be putting our lesions. Next screen to the right, you'll see a X-ray picture that shows where the different wires are in the heart. And then underneath, we have a lot of electrode pictures that are giving us signals from each of the catheters we have in the body to help track down where things are coming from. Finally, at the very top screen, we also have sort of an anesthesiology machine so we can readily see what the heart rate's doing, what the blood pressure's doing, what the oxygenation's doing. It's a very, very controlled situation. It is somewhat invasive. It actually tries to reproduce the arrhythmias that patients have, so it can be a little bit uncomfortable. Thus, sometimes we use general anesthesiology and have the patients totally asleep, but often we'll do it very much awake because the heart can be most stimulated when patients are awake. Again, just sort of another picture of the layout of the room. The ultrasound machine to the far left of the screens. The X-ray picture, the mapping system set back a little bit. You can see my assistant there. He's got a pacing machine that we can use to pace the different catheters. And you can see a lot of catheters and wires coming up that we use to do these tests. So programs available to treat rhythms once we diagnose. Sort of jumped the gun a little bit in talking about treatment with EP studies, and we do have a full catheter ablation program, but there are a number of other things that we have in the heart disorders program. We start with our patient consultations and identifying the beginning treatment of arrhythmia problems. Sometimes that's just directed at lifestyle changes. Sometimes, though, there are drug therapies that we can use to treat abnormal heart rhythms, device therapies. Pacemakers are obviously used to treat slow rhythms. Sometimes when patients have deadly fast rhythms, we place defibrillators. Patients with heart failure, we implant devices that can resynchronize the pumping of the heart to try to reduce the heart squeeze. And then there are the catheter ablation techniques. I wanted to focus in a little bit on atrial fibrillation because it's the most common arrhythmia, and it's a very common arrhythmia in older patients. So again, sometimes all we have to do for treating atrial fibrillation are lifestyle changes. Diet and exercise, staying fit are very important, and treating comorbidities. Sleep apnea is one of the most common things that we see with other heart rhythms. So most heart rhythm doctors are really pushing people to use their CPAP and treat their sleep apnea if they have sleep apnea. We'll often actually be the ones who diagnose sleep apnea because a lot of our patients will end up getting overnight pulse oximetry monitors as well. That's something you sleep with on your finger, and it tells us what your heart rate does overnight if your oxygen is dropping. We use that to try to help manage sleep apnea. Drug therapy for atrial fibrillation can have two different directions. If patients are not symptomatic, we just need to make sure that the rate's controlled. Or if the only symptoms are full fast rates, we give medicines directed at controlling the heart rate. But we also have medicines that are antiarrhythmic medicines that try to keep your heart in normal rhythm. And sometimes we'll use those. Those we reserve for symptoms, because there's no proven benefit in terms of longevity going one way or the other. So our goal is to make people feel better. Device therapy, I mentioned pacemakers and defibrillators. There's a common misconception about pacemakers. People think when they get a pacemaker that their heart is going to suddenly be regularized because they have the pacemaker. A pacemaker is a little more simple than that. It works like an egg timer, and it will just deliver a heartbeat if you don't have one. If the heart's going very, very fast, a pacemaker will watch the heart go fast and won't end up delivering a beat. So pacemakers are only used for the slow rhythms. They're still very commonly used because some of our other treatments lead to slower heart rates. Some patients get very, very well controlled on their medicines for AFib, but they have the side effect of going too slow. So sometimes that's why patients will get pacemaker for AFib. Defibrillators. Atrial fibrillation is not a reason for a defibrillator. Even if you need a pacemaker with atrial fibrillation, we don't typically put in a defibrillator. Defibrillators are reserved for things that have an increased risk of cardiac arrest and dying. But in the patients who have something else giving them that increased risk, who have these devices, we can use their devices to try to shock their atrial fibrillation back to normal and deliver other treatments. Ablation therapy, I've talked a little bit about. There are ablations directed at atrial fibrillation. That picture from yesterday was from an AFib ablation. Typically takes 2 to 3 hours, and we try to isolate the areas where the abnormal electricity comes from in the heart. But there are simpler ablations that can be done, something called an AV nodal ablation. The AV node is that connection that I showed at the beginning between the top and the bottom part of the heart, and we can disconnect that to make sure that really fast rhythms don't get to the bottom. But if we do that, we definitely need a pacemaker. Finally, no talk on arrhythmia would be appropriate if it didn't include a little bit on stroke and stroke prevention, because atrial fibrillation increases the risk of stroke, and we need to address that in all the patients we see with both atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter. Our stroke prevention is aimed at each individualized patient's underlying stroke needs. We use this CHADS-VASc score to determine an individual's risk of having a stroke. The twos mean things are worth 2 points. So CHF, or congestive heart failure, is a definite risk factor. Hypertension is a definite risk factor. Age is a risk factor. We give 1 point for age over 65 and an additional point for age over 75. Diabetes is a risk factor. Previous stroke is a risk factor that we also assign 2 points because it is such a strong predictor of future stroke. Vascular disease, such as carotid thickening, peripheral vascular disease, previous heart attack, or stent, are all a risk factor. And finally, female gender, although protective against atrial fibrillation in general, is a risk of increased stroke in patients with atrial fibrillation. So we assign these essentially 1 point, with 2 points available for age, 2 points for previous stroke, and we multiply that number by about 1.5 to get the annual rate of stroke. So for example, if there is a female who is 76 with high blood pressure and a previous stroke, she would get a point for her high blood pressure, 2 points for her age of 76, 2 points for her previous stroke, and 1 point for being female, and making her have 6 risk factors. And in general, that corresponds to a yearly risk of stroke approaching 9%, 1.5 times 6. So may sound like a small number, but that's just 1 year. So it's definitely something we need to address. And there are numerous ways to address that. There are antiplatelet medications such as aspirin. Seems like patients prefer to be on these rather than the other oral anticoagulants, but the big difference is the antiplatelet medications reduce the risk of stroke by about a couple percent per year, whereas the oral anticoagulants, Coumadin and the newer drugs, decrease that risk by about 2/3. So in that 9%, if we treat that woman with an oral anticoagulant, such as Coumadin or one of the newer drugs, Pradaxas or Ulcos or Savesa, we decrease her risk of stroke down to 3% per year. That's 6 strokes you prevent in a year, or basically, if you treat 16 people, one of them's not going to have a stroke because of it. So it makes a huge impact. Whereas the aspirin only reduced the risk by about 2%. So you got to treat about 50 people to prevent a stroke just using aspirin. Other things, future directions, in patients who have heart surgeries for other reasons, they can cut off the left atrial appendage, where those strokes mostly come from, or there are some catheter-based procedures that can close off the appendage. Just showed here the Watchman device. This has been shown to have a stroke reduction nearly equivalent to oral anticoagulants, but it's not ready for prime time and not ready for everyone yet. Right now, it's reserved for people who can't take blood thinners but have a very high risk of stroke. And what it does is it puts a little blocker in the atrium, in what we call the left atrial appendage, the little outpouching tissue where most strokes come from, holding the blood there and keeping clots from forming in that area. And this can reduce the risk of stroke by about 2/3. So, finally, I hope we have some understanding of arrhythmia, and I just want to finish off with some ideas on improving heart health in general. This is directed at reducing your risk of abnormal heart rhythms, but it affects heart health in general, and doing these things sort of prevents all heart problems. Most important things are getting to a healthy weight if you're not already at a healthy weight, and if you are at that weight, maintaining that healthy weight. controlling blood pressure is very, very important. I believe there's blood pressure screenings here today. I urge you all to take advantage. One of the best ways we can control people's blood pressure is knowing that it actually is high when it's high. Cholesterol levels being controlled definitely helps prevent heart attacks, and downstream helps prevent abnormal heart rhythms. And same thing, tight control of diabetes can also be very, very helpful. Things that we suggest to people: eating a heart-healthy diet. I was walking around outside and I see there's a number of handouts and information that you can get on heart-healthy eating. I recommend it strongly. I can talk to anyone individually. I usually do it in the office, but in this setting, I think there are great resources out there. So I hope you guys take advantage of some of the booths. Alcohol consumption. Couple of concerns. One, there's the caloric concern. Two, there is the fact that alcohol is a direct toxin to heart muscle cells. I know many people have heard that moderate consumption of alcohol decreases the risk of heart attack, and it does. But being that it is a toxin, anything over moderate consumption can be a trigger for abnormal heart rhythms. There's something we call holiday heart, because after the holidays, when people consume a little more than they're used to consuming, it is very, very common for people to develop atrial fibrillation and other arrhythmias. So I'm not saying don't drink, I'm just saying drink in moderation if you do. Avoiding toxins. Being a non-smoker is so important for heart health. It's probably the number one most important preventable cause of illness. And we always stress that. But other toxins, caffeine, I advise people to avoid what is a trigger for them. So I think it's fine if you have your cup of coffee in the morning. Most people, a cup of coffee doesn't cause a problem. But if after your cup of coffee you end up with abnormal heart rhythms, we suggest decreasing the amount you take in. Stimulants, same thing. It's something that we advise against. Things that basically keep you awake can actually get your heart going too fast. Exercising regularly, very, very important. Not only does it prevent heart disease, it helps you recognize heart disease. I try to encourage all of my patients to stay active, because if you're the person who's going on a walk for 40 minutes every single day, you're going to notice that you have a problem when you can't go on your usual walk, because you don't have the energy. You're breathing harder during your walk. Denial is a very powerful thing, and if you're not very active, it's very easy to not notice developing problems. So I encourage everyone to be as active as possible. Just walking, it's a great exercise, and I encourage everyone to try to carve out the time to do at least 40 minutes more days than not. Finally, taking your medicines as directed. Obviously, that gets to the previous slides for controlling blood pressure, blood sugars, and whatnot. But there can be side effects from medicines. It's important that you let your doctors know. We're humans too. We don't want to make people miserable. We're not, peddling these things just for the sake of having people take them. The goal is to have people feel better and not feel worse. So if there's anything making you feel at all worse, there's probably other options to control things. And finally, keeping yourself accountable, keeping records. I see a lot of patients who check their blood pressures every single day. They bring in their blood pressure logs. It's very, very helpful in seeing how things are going at home. It's also helpful keeping the patients accountable to themselves, because they may notice that certain habits bring on fast heart rates, or certain things that they do can increase their heart rates or their blood pressure. So I just want to thank you all for your attention. I tried to cover a ton of material in a really short time.